President Clinton promised big reform in campaign laws. Did he deliver? We'll have an Evening News reality check. In Las Vegas, trouble for visitors. Here's one video the tourist industry doesn't want you to see. And Eye on America. Tonight, how Buffalo can be good for your health. One man's success story in the battle of his life.
If you can get over the fear of dying, then your body has the capability of beating it.
This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. In the 1992 presidential campaign, voters said they wanted change. Candidate Bill Clinton said he would deliver change on the economy and on election campaign reform. Today, President Clinton came out with his plan for what is called campaign reform. From the early indications, big money special interests will still be able to get the best Congress money can buy. Correspondent Eric Ingberg looks past the photo op for tonight's CBS Evening News reality check.
A typical business-as-usual night in Washington. Fat cats ponying up $1,500 a plate for access to power. The fundraiser was routine, except for the irony of its timing. The influence brokers on hand were aware Mr. Clinton was about to try to curb the power of their money.
We're going to have to say, what is in it for us? How can we all give something so we can all get something?
The Gucci shoe crowd, which gives millions to get something, was wondering the same thing. Reform, so often pledged by Mr. Clinton and fanned by Perot, was in the wind.
Today we are announcing the most comprehensive reform of the political system in the history of this country.
The reality is that the administration proposals, while attacking many obvious abuses, give the big money political operators plenty of elbow room. Included in the plan, the huge dollar special interest contributions to the two parties called soft money are cut back but not eliminated. Spending ceilings on congressional races, but they're only voluntary. Candidates who accept them will get government funds to buy TV and newspaper ads. On tax, the special interest groups that push their causes by funding candidates, Mr. Clinton had talked tough.
I want to lower the influence of political action committees on elections.
Time out. He promised to cut PAC contributions from $5,000 to $1,000. But this plan does not cut PAC spending on House races at all, and only cut Senate races to $2,500.
This bill does freeze into place the worst aspects of the system. High levels of spending, an enormous amount of money coming from special interest.
For the lobbyists who prowl the halls of Congress, Mr. Clinton has bad news. They would be barred from using campaign contributions to influence the officials that they lobby. Chances of this package passing, even in the weakened form forced on Mr. Clinton by Hill Democrats, are dimmed by the likelihood of a Republican filibuster in the Senate. Even then, none of these reforms will take effect until the 1996 election, a delay designed by incumbents for incumbents. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
This is Susan Spencer. A worried White House would love to see campaign reform give Mr. Clinton a big political boost. A new CBS News poll shows how badly he needs it. The president's job approval has slid from 64% in February to 49% today. He reacted like scores of presidents before him.
You cannot operate this job by polls, and you have to be willing to take on tough decisions. It takes a certain amount of time to do things, to make difficult decisions, and to work through them, and you can't carry on a totally continuous campaign.
But with more travel and a beefed-up staff, Mr. Clinton is about to embark on a campaign of sorts to revitalize his popularity and his economic program. Half the public now disapproves of how he's handling the economy, the main thing he was sent to Washington to do. In February, more than half thought his program would help. Now, only about a third does, and the program hasn't even passed yet.
What you want to do is have the people on your side. That's how you pressure Congress and our system. And so, unless he can get his poll ratings up, he's going to be in trouble on the Hill.
The president spent much of today with foreign leaders, much of his time on Bosnia. He says that's added to his woes.
I've been forced to deal with a lot of other issues. Most voters in this country don't like it when you spend any time on foreign policy because of the economic problems of the country.
Mrs. Clinton's popularity, by contrast, is holding, perhaps because her task force hasn't announced anything yet to make people mad. And she's been the subject of a schmaltzy and carefully planned magazine blitz this month. Remarkably, almost half say they still have no view of her, but 37% have a favorable opinion. White House aides say, oh, come on. It's certainly not too late for Mr. Clinton to recoup his squandered popularity. But the speed of this plunge really has alarmed many Democrats who keep telling each other, it'll be okay. It will be okay. Won't it? Susan Spencer, CBS News, the White House.
President Clinton has yet to decide what to do about the Serbs' genocide in Bosnia. He said today that he sees, quote, a common approach now emerging with U.S. allies on possible action in Bosnia. While the allies are talking, Serbian forces are closing in on the few surviving Muslim enclaves in northern Bosnia. Correspondent Bob Simon is up on the front lines.
It's noon in the Muslim town of Maglai, time for Friday prayers. They're not held in the mosque anymore. Several months ago, the mosque was reduced to rubble. People now pray in a bomb shelter underneath a grocery store. Maglai is the last Muslim town in what's left of North Bosnia. It's been under siege for 8 months. It is surrounded by hills and Serbs. These pictures of the Serb offensive were taken by one of the leaders of the Maglai resistance. She filmed her neighborhood on fire. She filmed the plant she manages being shelled. She is Mirza Krzic, and the Maglai paper plant is one of the largest in Europe. Or rather, it was.
Do you think that the Americans are going to do something now?
People here have two proverbs. Promises bring happiness only to fools, and trust nobody but yourselves. These beliefs, she said, have saved Maglai.
Many of the people of Maglai, many of the workers in this factory before the war were Serbs. When the fighting began, most of them left town, went to the hills, joined Serb forces. Naturally, they knew exactly which buildings to target.
This, for example, was the old Muslim quarter. Along with the castle and the river, it's what drew people to Maglai. Friday morning was market day. Peasants would fill these stands with fresh butter, eggs, and cheese.
You see these windows, small windows? I can imagine old Muslim women on the windows now. They were always here. Now they're all gone.
All the people who've stayed here have witnessed the transformation of a community into a commune, a town into a task force. Today, some soldiers, young men who live here, were learning how to arm and defuse anti-tank mines. Of course, these lessons should be taught with models. There are none here. These mines are real. Behind these boards is Maglai's clandestine radio station, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Right now, it's time for a live report from the front lines, a few hundred yards away. Every little act of everyday life is an act of defiance, a victory over the Serbs. But the long-term prognosis is poor. UN sources say the Serbs are determined to wipe out Maglai this spring, and they've got the firepower to do it. Bob Simon, CBS News, Maglai.
And straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, job reports indicate slim pickings for the class of '93. And Eye on America, tonight, hope and healing. How the right attitude can help fight disease.
The American Dimensions collection from Ethan Allen. Eclectic and most agreeably priced. For people who really love to live at home. Right now, there's a sale going on at your local Ethan Allen.
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes fast when speed counts. Primatene Mist, fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
I put off seeing my doctor because I was worried about needing surgery for my hemorrhoids. I suffered for it. The pain, itching, and burning were awful. But the doctor said my hemorrhoids weren't serious. I didn't need surgery. He told me it was time I started using Preparation H.
Preparation H helps relieve the symptoms of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues, often bringing relief from itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours.
What a difference Preparation H cream makes.
Doctor recommended Preparation H.
Anyone looking for a big improvement in the U.S. job market tonight will have to keep looking. And to complicate matters further, there's a new crop of high school and college graduates about to join the ranks of job seekers. Money correspondent Ray Brady reports that they, too, are now up against an April jobless rate of 7%, unchanged for 3 months.
The class of '92 had a tough time getting jobs. But as today's unemployment figures show, this year's graduates won't have it any easier. It's still a slow-moving labor market.
All you hear about is how there's no jobs available. There's a lot of people always applying for the same job.
This year, the jobs bulletin at UCLA's Career Center isn't as full as in years past. According to a survey by the College Placement Council, 11% fewer recruiters are visiting campuses this year. Many companies are still downsizing, not hiring.
I have one company that would like to hire me, but they have a hiring freeze right now.
Still, the student who knows what employers are looking for can get a passing mark when it comes to landing that elusive first job. Along with that diploma, a history of summer jobs counts. So does a record of campus leadership. Specific courses that fit the job? Naturally. And an internship with a company gives students a big advantage.
They get a sense of what the job is all about. They get a sense how things get done in a corporation. They really get to hone some of their business skills.
We send out resumes and we get more rejections than we do acceptances.
No wonder. Maury Hannigan, a corporate recruiting consultant, says sending out a flood of resumes is a no-no.
Large corporations are getting upwards of 50,000 resumes a year, and they don't really have the opportunity to review them carefully. I'd do a much more targeted approach.
So college graduates should study for it like an exam. Decide what job you want, then send a specialized resume and letter, not to the personnel department, but to the head of the company. That could keep you from flunking out in today's tough job market. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
The big U.S. airlines have been cutting jobs and losing money. They could help you save some money this summer, though. 3 of them, Northwest, United, and Delta, now say they are chopping summer airfares by up to 1/3. Other airlines are expected to follow suit. Stay here with us now for more CBS News, including life-saving rescues for a price.
This is a pretty twisted mixer. It goes from mixing to blending and back again. In fact, the new Handy Mixer from Black & Decker is the only one in the world with a split personality.
What could be better than a spectacular Baskin-Robbins ice cream cone? How about making it a double dip for just 59 cents more? So come on, get that 30 wonderful feeling.
Prowler at 15 Pine.
After I got this job and the stress, I had trouble getting to sleep. So I take Unisom to get to sleep fast. It's safe, and nothing I've tried works better.
In medical tests, people fell asleep 23 minutes faster with Unisom than without, and slept better all night.
I wake up feeling refreshed, not groggy. Let's go. Unisom works faster, so I can be at my best.
Its conquests are legend. Germ killer, plaque slayer. Now Listerine faces its greatest challenge. The ever-present threat of the gum disease, gingivitis. Gingivitis, you have met your match. Listerine antiseptic. It says what it does what it says.
The only thing that ever slowed him down eventually killed him. Now there may be a way to slow down what the world has come to know as Lou Gehrig's disease. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Questions are being raised tonight about whether Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas may have violated the ethics code for federal judges. Thomas spoke in Atlanta this week at a dinner sponsored by a self-described conservative think tank. Guests paid $100 a plate. Some legal scholars say that it was an outright fundraiser, which is supposed to be off limits to federal judges. Both the think tank, as it calls itself, and the spokesman for the Supreme Court deny the dinner was a fundraiser. The fire department in San Antonio, Texas, rescued more than 30 people this week from flooded streets they were warned to avoid. Now, the department is going after those people again, this time to give them a bill. Correspondent Frank Courier has the story from San Antonio.
Every year, the city of San Antonio spends more than $100,000 to rescue motorists, victims stranded by swift raging floodwaters.
We're going to lower a ladder down. They'll be here in just a minute.
Just this week, during the area's worst rainstorm in 20 years, the dangers were underscored. Charles Schwarzkopf, an 81-year-old cousin of retired General Norman Schwarzkopf, for a few desperate moments was clinging for life. His wife trapped inside, their car suddenly swallowed by a fast-rising creek. Rescue teams on extension ladders struggled, threw him a rope, but the man, in panic and unwilling to abandon his wife, was swept to a horrible end.
Just a couple more minutes, and we could have done some good, but it didn't work out that way.
It happens so often, motorists who ignore these high-water street barricades. So San Antonio this week, for the first time, enforced a new ordinance imposing an automatic $400 fee on any victim who is rescued.
And if they make that choice to go into these low-water crossings, and we have to risk our firefighters' lives to go in and save them, then they're going to have to pay for that service.
The so-called Swiftwater Rescue Fee is not meant to raise money as much as discourage risk-takers. During this week's storm, 99 out of 2,000 emergency calls to 911 were flood rescues. Motorists like Mike Oliver.
You doing okay? I'm doing okay. Every time we have a unit out there doing that high water rescue, that means that a unit's out of service to perform fire service.
66-year-old nurse Betty Sainer ignored high water warnings on her way home from the grocery. It took 2 rescue squads to bring her to safety. The bad news, firemen told her, expect a bill in the mail next week for $400.
So you're going to pay the fine?
I think my insurance will pay it.
And if it doesn't?
Well, then I'll contest it probably.
The bills are being mailed out this week to victims who were saved in a city where citizens still have a right to be rescued, but not without paying for the privilege. Frank Courier, CBS News, San Antonio.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Las Vegas is a great town with a lot of great people, but it's our job to show you some pictures from there they would rather you didn't see.
Julie Inkster, women's golf champion.
I couldn't afford to lose a golf tournament to diarrhea. I needed relief.
Introducing new Kale Pectate 2.
Something I could count on to let me play all day without worrying.
You'll often get 1 dose relief with new Kale Pectate 2 caplets.
Well, I did play all day, and the only thing I worried about were the sand traps.
Trust new Kale Pectate 2 for relief in 1 dose.
America's biggest appliance store, America's best-selling brand, and our lowest price ever. It's a Kenmore model closeout at Sears Brand Central. This large-capacity 6-cycle Kenmore washer is closeout priced at just $267. Matching dryer just $227. Save $84 on the pair. And remember, your purchase is always backed by the largest service fleet in America. So for the biggest savings on the best-selling brand, get to Sears Brand Central for this Kenmore model closeout. But hurry!
Tak prejdzie go what? A, wiedział tylko, what had you about that bosh? Why, się boremy tu, no matria się, dobi tu, Arjaman, on je raz barskars. Lysol, clean yes, germs no. Si bratko do mandašu, čisty bagariš, clean yes, germs no. Terši da, kad je bašira, da švedra će baš, je unja spunking, are spunta, janta.
Lysol cleaners.
Clean yes, germs no.
Lysol, now you know it's clean.
The reigning world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays, play host to the Baltimore Orioles Saturday on CBS.
There's a killer on the loose tonight. Police in California are still looking for the fired postal worker who gunned down a letter carrier at the Dana Point, California post office yesterday, just hours after a similar incident in Dearborn, Michigan. The Postmaster General was in Dearborn today, admitting there is a problem and promising to improve conditions for all postal workers. A long and continuing strike at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas has turned violent, and several members of the Culinary Workers Union are about to be prosecuted. Correspondent Bill Lagatuda has the story and the pictures of striking workers striking tourists.
On the dazzling Las Vegas Strip, there's one show running the city doesn't want you to see.
Visitors who came here for the fun getting caught up in an ugly strike. These are surveillance tapes made by the Frontier Hotel, showing what's happened as many as 50 times when workers on the picket line lose their tempers. At least some of the people seen being attacked were tourists coming in or leaving the hotel.
Everybody has their breaking point.
Hotel's on strike, folks. Thanks for not going.
The culinary workers who've been striking the Frontier for 20 months now say in most cases they were being harassed.
They get spat upon, they get drinks thrown at them, sometimes they get guns pulled on them, knives pulled on them.
The union has publicly apologized for some of the attacks, but is also charging the hotel with deliberately sending people out to push them to the edge. The hotel denies that.
Watching her getting beat up across the street just put me in such a rage.
Sean White and his wife, two visitors from California, said they were part of no conspiracy. She says she was simply talking to the picketers when this happened.
I said you should go out and get a job. And that right then the one girl, she punched me in the face and the other one started spitting on me.
416 now here in progress.
Whether or not any of the violence is justified, those responsible for the city's image want to make one thing clear.
It's an unfortunate incident, but fortunately it's only confined to one spot on the strip.
The only place in town on strike. Pass it on by.
And tonight, there's no end in sight to what has been one of this country's longest and sometimes nastiest labor disputes. Bill Agatuda, CBS News, Las Vegas.
If you're looking for distinction and value in a luxury automobile, the answer is the special edition Cadillac DeVille. Equipped with luxurious options such as Phaeton roof, gold ornamentation, and leather seating areas. At a savings of $1,490 plus a $2,000 bonus direct from Cadillac for a total of $3,490. The special edition Cadillac DeVille, changing the way you think about American automobiles.
The medical facts are clear. Tylenol is so gentle on your stomach, doctors even recommend it to their ulcer patients for everyday aches and pains. They know Tylenol can't aggravate an ulcer the same way aspirin can. That's important for all of us to know. And so is this. Hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
These remind me of an ex-boyfriend of mine named Harry. Harry just sort of sits there. Dull and boring and bumpy. Now, these are good. I mean, they got some spark, got some pep. They've got some life to them.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
These are Kellogg's Corn Flakes? Maybe I should give Harry another try.
Taste them again for the first time.
Conrad.
Room 801.
Once they were in love with butter, but cholesterol closed the door on their dreams until...
William.
May I serve you?
I can't believe it's not butter.
I Can't Believe It's Not Butter is the first spread flavored with real sweet cream buttermilk for a fresh butter taste, but without the cholesterol.
Now nothing can disturb our love.
I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, the taste you love without the cholesterol.
It happens to millions of Americans every year. Suddenly, they are alone with a killer, and their chances of survival are slim. But there is growing reason to hope for those millions of Americans, and the key is that they don't have to be alone with the killer. Dr. Bob Arnott has the story for tonight's Eye on America.
I just called out the buffaloes and circled them up.
Buffaloes are always there when Bob Stone calls. They're his angels, his strength, the symbol of his fight against cancer.
The reason we picked the buffaloes was because it was a dying breed, but it's making a comeback now.
The Buffaloes is the name of a team Bob Stone formed to help him make a comeback from an often incurable kidney cancer. His team is made up of 3,000 friends and family members, fellow Buffaloes, who've given Bob a barrage of spiritual support ever since he was first diagnosed 3 years ago.
I asked for the Buffaloes to pray for me, and it made a big difference. Now, I asked my friends and my family to send pictures of themselves, to send me funny stories. So when you came into my room, you couldn't help but smile. We sent out bumper stickers that said R.T. Stone Buffaloes, undefeatable champs. So my immune system never shut down. I mean, it was going gangbusters from the beginning because I had hope from so many people.
Bob made it through grueling surgery and experimental chemotherapy, a treatment that works in only 10% of patients.
Most patients have died of this disease in a relatively short period of time.
But 3 years later, Bob Stone has beat the odds. He's still very much alive.
You can't deny the diagnosis, but you can defy the outcome. If you think negative thoughts, that weakens you.
Bob Stone's taking his message to thousands of other people with cancer. His new book, Where the Buffaloes Roam, is a study in the power of the human spirit. He talks to folks about laughter, humor, and the buffaloes.
Look at it real close. There are no ears. And the reason there are no ears is because never is heard a discouraged.
But last month, Bob Stone had a setback. He underwent surgery to remove a new, much less serious tumor in his lung. Once again, Bob and his buffaloes refused to give in.
If you can get over the fear of dying, then your body has the capability of beating it. And then if you let your family and friends care, then everybody wins.
I don't believe that Bob would be here if it weren't for me. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. The support that they have from the people that are closest to them is of the utmost importance. Love is the main thing.
Love and support is powerful medicine. A landmark study in the medical journal Lancet found that breast cancer patients who were members of support groups lived an average of 37 months longer than patients who suffered alone.
It's possible that social support acts as a buffer against the physiological consequences of stress and thereby reduces the hormones that might stimulate the growth of the tumor.
Early detection is important.
New buffalo groups are cropping up across the country, like this one formed by Libby Easton, who was diagnosed last year with breast cancer. She was inspired by Bob Stone's book.
Before I knew how to deploy all of you guys, I felt like I was going to war with a 38 Special instead of an Uzi and a mountain of people behind me. And what the Buffaloes gave me was that armament and those extra people.
Healing begins with caring. And when you care for someone, then the healing really does begin.
For Chief Buffalo, Bob Stone, life has become a spiritual journey. Cancer, just a bump in the road.
You can't do it on your own. God made us here to help one another, and that's what we need to do. The Buffaloes, a great team.
In New York, this is Dr. Bob Arnott for Eye in America.
So give us a home.